Okay, we with a gentleman here. He's been elevated in his career. I know him through coaching Jablute, and he has a football background from the UK. So maybe you can tell the people your name and how you get into this beautiful game, as we call it.
Thanks, Aldwyn. Well, my name is Terry Fenwick. I'm a former England international, having played for Tottenham Hotspur, Queen's Park Rangers and Crystal Palace. I'm a guy out of the northeast of England, County Durham. Came from a very small mining town on the northeast coast of England called Seaham Harbour. I had quite a distinguished long career in football with several London clubs, as I've just mentioned. And then in 2000 I was invited by Sir Bobby Robson, who had been here in Trinidad and Tobago in 1999. I was recommended by him to take up a coaching position with San Jablute, and that was 20 years ago. I arrived in Trinidad on January the 4th, 2000, and I came in right at the start of carnival season. I couldn't believe what I'd come into. It was just amazing. It blew me away because I'd never experienced anything like it before. But I'm still here. I obviously enjoy it, and now as national team coach, I'm here to resurrect football.
Okay. Now, seeing that you fast forward to the national, first I want to congratulate you as the national coach of being appointed the national coach of Trinidad and Tobago. Now, in your history coming from the UK to here to Jablute, let's just deal with the football. Do you see a change in the football from your Jablute days, let's say 15 years later?
Yeah.
And it would just tell the public what type of job and how you have to put these pieces together.
Well, I think what's important here, people out there need to recognise that football's evolving all of the time. It's always changing. And we're seeing these top coaches. When I go back over the years, coaches like Terry Venables and Malcolm Allison, Sir Bobby Robson were fabulous in their day. But when we look today at the Pep Guardiolas and the Jose Mourinho's, who all are fabulous coaches of today, Jurgen Klopp, they've changed the way we're thinking about the game. So the changes that I've seen over 20 years of football here in Trinidad and Tobago have been significant. And unfortunately what we've got is we've got the old guard, people that you're always running against, that have been in football for 50, 60, 70 years, and they haven't seen these changes as they're rolling out in the modern game. But the good thing here is the kids on the street, the kids that are out there, the kids that are playing college league footballs, Super League football, Pro League football, they're seeing these changes because they're watching football on the television every day. They're listening to these new coaches, they're listening to their brand of football, their style, their tactics, and it's quite amazing how they've latched onto it. And of course we've got some wonderful talent on the ground.
No, that's on the football aspect, but I would be remiss not to ask you, in covering the previous regime, I know you guys were in the wings, so you must have seen things that maybe in your estimation that was not being done, that should have been done and stuff. So you know you sort of will be in the hot seat. So
yes,
I don't know if you want to, if it makes any sense saying what wasn't done. So maybe you can tell me what you intend to do, that if you want to put it that wasn't being done.
Well, I just think over a long period of time, we've seen football in Trinidad and Tobago at every national level. It's gone south. And when I arrived here in Trinidad in 2000, teams like Panama, Honduras, Costa Rica, we were miles ahead of them, and we had some great players that were playing outside around the world. And that has deteriorated over a long period of time, I think more so with the last administration. And now we're seeing boys and girls at each of these national levels getting beat. That's not something I was used to, it's not something I saw, and particularly with the quality of footballers that we're producing on the ground here, it was a big disappointment for me. Now, recognising that with my football factory, my social development programme, I'm seeing kids from 3, 4, 5 up until their early teens, and I'm recognising the quality and the class players that we've got on the ground in Trinidad. I'm asking myself, why are we not winning at these national age groups at under 13, under 15, under 17, under 20, and of course the national team, which is the flagship. So it's took a long time, 20 years I've been here, 20 years before I had a chance to get this job. It's not going to be easy. I know it's going to be tough because we're behind 4 and 5 years development, which the rest of these countries have now had within the region. But it's a task that I want to take up because I know what's happening here. I know the players, I know the culture, which is very important, and I know that when we're on the outside of Trinidad, we've got to have a whole new mentality to be successful.
Okay, and seeing that you mentioned the football factory, what was the football factory? What ages you were catering to in the football? Was it boys and girls, and what's the age?
Yes, we're boys and girls. They start from as young as 3 years old, and at that very early age, it's how to kick the ball properly. Okay. So kids are not toe punting the ball; they're using their instep, they're using their laces, and we have rebound walls that we're knocking it up and down against. So the kids get used to striking the ball properly. And from there, it's a very methodical, slow process of building these kids' skill sets. So by the time they're in their 6, 7, 8, they're now very rounded footballers that are comfortable with the football.
And what was the end age?
So
what was the eldest?
We go up to as old as 22, 23, guys that are still playing for us. We've got a competitive team in the North Zone.
Okay.
So we're doing good things along the lines there, and it's a social programme. So this is learning skill sets, it's discipline, communication, making sure kids come together and do the right things together. So through my development with the different teams, Jablatier, Central and the Football Factory, I've sent 87 players through my development out on professional contracts to clubs around the world. And I've sent 69 youngsters to football scholarships in the United States.
You mentioned the fact that when you came in 2000, and obviously you were part or witnessed the 2005 Bahrain victory and stuff. We still don't have many international players out there. So how are you gonna be a breeding ground here locally, or how are you going to do it?
It's a difficult one, Aldwyn, because I've got to win games. I've got to build a bit of confidence back with the general public. I've got to get us back on the map within the Caribbean region to start, because we've fallen so far down the chart. And then beyond that, believe me, there's some excellent footballers out there playing at a great standard of football. We've got Premier League players that are young, that have been loaned out to championship sides in the UK. We've got players that are playing in the MLS and USL in the United States. We've got one guy that's playing out in La Liga for Tenerife. We've got some terrific talent there. But we haven't gone out, we haven't done that hard work to find these kids, to bring them back to what we want them to do.
So what you're saying, it's out there then?
It's out there. There's top quality players there. I've looked at, initially I've gone after players that have got Trini parentage.
Yes, that's the key.
So I can, because we've got some excellent players within the existing group, but I now want to bring an extra 5, 6, 7 players in that are top quality from other leagues around the world that can enhance what we've already got. And then once I establish and get a few results going, I can then start the process of development from the youngsters that we've got on the ground here in Trinidad, because the domestic games, whether it be College League, whether it be the Super League or Pro League, it's miles away from what we're seeing around the world in the MLS, with the leagues in England, throughout Europe, miles away from that quality and that professionalism. We've got to change that, and that's what I'm hoping I bring to the table. Professionalism. I come from a good background of excellent coaches that done the right thing on and off the field of play. I look after my players, I stand my ground for my players, and I make sure that they're doing the right thing. working for Trinidad and Tobago, the TTFA. It's, we've all got to understand that we're representing the country, and we want to make the country proud of how we behave and how we get results for the national team.
So, but the internationals, they will be linked up with clubs. They're going to need releases.
Yes.
I know that's a headache sometimes.
Yes.
And the balance of that versus you still need a core that would then come up
Yes,
to
of
that
course.
level. Maybe I shouldn't use the word up, but you already.
Well, what we're doing,
that?
I would actually look at it, Aldwyn, the other way. I think we've got to nurture these kids from 8, 9, 10 through to their 14, 15, 16 age group, and then we've got to invite them to go on scholarships outside of Trinidad and Tobago so they get this professionalism elsewhere. It's not existing here in Trinidad and Tobago. I just can't tell you anything different. We haven't got long enough leagues. Our leagues run for 3.5 months at a time. It's not long enough. These leagues around the world are 9 and 10 months.
Because when you were with Jablute, and it's around the time, a few years later, I did the Jamaica football, and the money that you guys were paying here was way more than in the Jamaican league,
Yes.
right? So it was breeding. Even Jamaican players were coming here at one time. So all that has changed.
So Alden, what you've had is over that period of time, we had about 10 years, I thought, from 1999 to 2009, 2010, whereby we had great sponsors. Jack Warner was running football in the Caribbean, and the leagues were running for 8 to 10 months, which was brilliant for football, and this was the only place in the Caribbean region doing so. But since then, the consecutive management teams beyond that haven't had the same vision, haven't had the same knowledge.
Everything dropped.
They don't know the business of football because they're all on a technical front rather than the business minded. So the game has plummeted from there because at the end of the day, money makes the world go around.
True.
And we've just not had that.
So, based on understanding was a very, what's the proper word, fierce election process.
Yes.
And some people wish you fail.
Yeah.
But you also know that the job you're doing is based on results.
Of course.
So
It's football.
that was I would think that was the downfall of the previous coach. And you're confident that you can bring back the winning to Trinidad.
Well, I'm going to change it up. I think initially, I need to rough it up. I need to get into one or two. There's a few areas I've already mentioned. The old boys, they've got to change their opinion. Football is evolving. So I need to rough them up and have them recognise that we've got some great youngsters here, but them great youngsters need development. And that development doesn't come from talking to them in a classroom. It's out on the training field where they're getting pictures in their mind and they're structuring their game as an individual within the team mechanism. So they become good footballers for their schools, their clubs, their national teams, and then please God get outside to earn a living for themselves and do well for their families.
So I like that rough up, because that's what I was used to in the game. And it might sound different to other people listening to it publicly, but that's what we ball players are accustomed to. When a coach says rough it up, it means like change up attitudes, everything, the whole general,
absolutely,
holistic kind of change in the whole mentality, because I think the mentality needs to change too.
Well, Aldwyn, I thought what was very important, what you've just said to me there, it's a success-driven sport. You've got to win games. And the last administration have put their time and energies into bricks and mortar. Building home of football and that sort of stuff, and they've let our youngsters slide down the rankings within the region. Football's about winning, and when you're winning, sponsors come to the table. When you're winning, you go up the FIFA rankings. When you're winning, the crowds come out to watch you, and then you have the money to then go back to your building, your bricks and mortar. It comes naturally that way. We've tried to do it the other way around, and it just frankly hasn't worked. I think the last administration missed all of that. There was no game plan. They were running from week to week, and it was just what was happening next. You see, football now, when you look at these top managers, it's not by chance. that Liverpool and Manchester Cities are at the top. They've got the best coaches in the world. Now these coaches, when they took over okay and not bad squads, and they've systematically chipped away until they get the best possible players for each position to ensure they're going to win.
Well, what
Now
I'm saying,
we've got to do that in Trinidad.
although they get the players to win on the field, Liverpool have die-hard supporters. Those
Absolutely.
supporters never go away. So that's the whole situation here.
But
It's like, how
Aldwyn,
you get them back?
I think Trinidad and Tobago have got fantastic football fans.
Okay.
However, I think over the last years they've lost their way, and that's not because of the fans, not because of the players, because of the administration have not recognised where the game is evolving.
Okay.
So I think with the new administration that are coming on board, yes, we'll have our teething problems in the beginning, but there is a plan of action. We know where we're going. We've already checked out what's happening over the next 3 years. If we get through what we want to achieve in them 3 years, I'm hoping the administration will get an extension, a next administration. And then you can see big turnarounds like we've seen in the region. We've now got Panama going to World Cups.
I'm fully aware of
We've got Costa Rica are now well recognised within the CONCACAF region. They've got the 2 World Cup quarterfinals. So we've got quality players within this region. We've got terrific players within Trinidad and Tobago. We've now got to give them the right coaching, the right development, and that's not just football, not just tactical, not just technical, that's their mentality. We've got to get them strong and tough so we can compete at a different level.
So you've met your squad yet? Have you met players?
I haven't met
squad
them.
yet?
So what I've done is, over the last 2 months, I've identified 16 international players that are playing around the world, that are all playing at a very good level, that have got Trinidad and Tobagoan parentage.
Yeah.
I've approached them directly. I'm getting on great with them. I've now got a WhatsApp group with all of these players on it, so we're sharing information, and so they're getting to know me. I'm getting to know them without actually meeting. So we come together on the 23rd of March.
But you have a game on the 25th, no?
27th of
27th?
March. Yes.
That's against Canada.
Against Canada.
And
So we've got that game against Canada, but that is then me meeting all these guys that I'm in constant contact with over telephone, Skype and WhatsApp, coming together with them and then sorting out the players that I've got, what system of player suits the players that I've got to ensure that we're very competitive.
How you feel about going into that friendly? Because you should know Canada very strong offensively right now.
They're very strong.
Yeah.
And they're very strong because of the same things, Aldwyn. They've had now probably 4 years good development. And what they've done is they've set their target, their long-term game plan is becoming one of the 6 at the top of CONCACAF in the Hex. We've fallen away from the map. We're not even close to them at the moment. But with the players that I'm bringing in from these top leagues around the world, I'm hoping that we can be really competitive and I can bring that passion back to Trinidad and Tobago and we can give them a run for their money. We're not going to be easy.
Yeah, Terry, you sound like you have the passion, and anybody listening to you, they should have some confidence in where the squad is going to head. So I want to thank you for giving me the time, and I wish you all the best, and hopefully I'll be able to cover that game on the 27th of March.
I hope so.
All right.
It's been lovely meeting you.
All right, thanks.